And welcome back to our special Vampire the Masquerade 5th edition one-shot. Before we get back to the story, however, we do want to give a quick important word. And so without any further ado, I will pass the microphone along to Patrick Rothfuss.
Hey there, everybody. Thanks so much for showing up today or watching this later. And this is a great story. I get to come back to Vampire after maybe 20 years. So much has changed. So much is the same. And the people I get to play with here are amazing. I'm having so much fun. But also, this is kind of for charity. And right now, we're in the middle of the World Builders big annual charity fundraiser that we do every year to benefit Heifer International. And World Builders is a charity that I kind of created on accident on my blog back in the day. And since then, it has grown and become something beautiful that the community has supported. Geeks and creeds of all nations show up. And because y'all have good hearts and you want to do good in the world and make the world a better place. And as a result, World Builders has raised about $14 million over the last 10 years for various charitable causes. This year, this is a weird year. That's the biggest understatement I have ever stated. This is a weird, bad year, and there's pandemic and climate change and fascism. And if you hug someone you love, you could die, and it's a mess. And if you feel like me, you feel like, boy, how could I even begin to help fixing all the things that need fixing? And if you're a good-hearted geek, I don't know, it wears on me. It makes me feel helpless, and that sucks, because helpless is close to hopeless. And so that's all. Good night. Bye. No, the
World of Darkness, everybody.
World of Darkness rules. But wait, there's more. What you can do if you want to make the world a better place is you can come on with us. If you care about the world and you want to make it better, and you're a geek, you're probably fairly smart, and you know that a lot of charities maybe aren't that great, and maybe they aren't that efficient, or maybe they're well-intentioned, but they're out of date, or maybe they're secretly run by people who don't actually want to make the world a better place, and they're just lawyers who want to get their piece of the action. So I'll say this. We have picked Heifer International because they've worked for 75 years, making substantial change in the lives of like millions upon millions, tens of millions of people. It's always broke my heart that they don't have the brand recognition of a place like Salvation Army or Red Cross or something like that. Because here's what Heifer International does. They go to people who are looking for help, and they give them the tools, education, and some training. And then the materials, like maybe a flock of chickens. And then this family who does not know, if they can get work, maybe they do work a day labor for $1 a day. And now instead they have a flock of chickens, and those chickens provide food every day. And also, spoiler alert, those eggs can turn into more chickens if you know what you're doing. And then those chickens make more eggs. Okay, I think you see where I'm going. But also, this means this family suddenly has a source of like really excellent protein and nutrition for everyone to eat. They can sell the extra eggs for money. And this means you've effectively given a family somewhere in the world a small business which also feeds them every day. For $20, Heifer International can make that happen. $20 is enough for the tools and the education. Teach them how to make a pen out of local materials. Teach them how to hatch those eggs. And then that family gets food, and it's like an avalanche of good moving endlessly into the future. And that's not 1% of what Heifer does. because depending on where they are, maybe people go to them and say, hey, we're hungry. Give us those chickens, yo. And they're like, actually, a lot of people in your community eat out of their gardens. All have small farm plots. You're dealing with soil erosion here. How about we give you some fruit trees and nut trees, and then you have a cash crop, and also you have food diversity, and also that prevents soil erosion, and also the shade means that you don't have to irrigate your farm as much. And also, how about some honeybees? And suddenly their garden is producing at 200, 300% because all over the world, a lot of people eat every day out of what they grow themselves. And Heifer goes in and helps those people like force multiply the things that they're already doing. These people want to work, but they don't have the startup resources. Or maybe Heifer says, actually, here, you could use a goat, and that's milk every day. That's calcium and protein in the diet of children every morning. That means kids wake up and they get to eat food every day. And parents get to go to sleep every night knowing that they'll be able to feed their children not just tomorrow, but forever. And that's what Heifer does, except that's not anywhere close to everything that Heifer does, because they also help people get clean water. They help people establish fair trade arrangements, like cocoa farmers not sell to Hershey because they're awful, and instead they make more money and they raise things organically, and they teach good animal husbandry. And also they give people biogas stoves, and then they turn literal animal shit into better fertilizer and methane, because 60% of the world cooks its dinner, if it gets it, over an open fire. And then Heifer comes in and says, how about all this animal shit that is good fertilizer but not great fertilizer? We put in a biogas digester, and the technology is like cement and pipes. It's just know-how, and you put that poop in, way better fertilizer comes out, and methane, and that means their children don't have to gather wood for 2 or 3 hours every day to cook dinner, and then it slows deforestation. And also those children have free time, and then they can maybe go to school, and also the family doesn't breathe smoke every day. And that's not all that Heifer does. Heifer does so much. I would not back their play if they were not absolute A+. So if you feel like the world is awful, fuck 2020, like I wish I could help, and then you feel like I feel all the time, which is like, man, I can't fix America. I can't fix the election. I can't fix climate change. $120 buys a family a goat. That's a gallon of milk a day. And it's a small business that then gives birth to small businesses. Like $250 gets an entire town or community fresh water, like clean water that you don't have to walk for 2 hours to get. $20 is chickens, $30 is honeybees, $60 is tree seedlings. And so far this year, we're not even a week into the fundraiser. First off, World Builders passes 100% of what you donate to us straight to Heifer, like 100%. A lot of charities, the pastor organizations, they kind of skim a little bit off the top. They take their piece to keep the lights on. World Builders don't. We do other things to pay for ourselves. 100% goes to Heifer. And if you donate to the fundraiser to World Builders, you get a chance. Every $10 you kick in gets a chance to win like thousands of books and games, worth more than $100,000. If you're watching this channel, I'm guessing you know what Wormwood tables are. Like, Wormwood has come in hard this year. They're giving us 3 different tables to give away, customizable, right, Erika? Yep. Come in, every $10 you kick in, you get a chance to win one of these 3 different modular, customizable Wormwood tables. And so if you're like, man, I live in a tiny Manhattan apartment, I can just do a little coffee table, but yeah, it's Wormwood. It's beautiful. It's got the recessed gaming vault. It's got the thing you lay over the top. Beautiful, last 100 years. Or it's like, oh, I live in the Midwest, which is great, by the way. And Wisconsin is great, by the way, because I get a house real cheap and it's all the space you ever want. And so for me, I'm like, how about we get a big old table in here for the future when I can have friends over to game again. And you can make it bigger out of cherry wood instead of walnut. You can make the table of your dreams, the table of your heart. Or, yes, all of this stuff. But wait, there's more. One more. The Humble Bundle community came in this year, and they're like, hey, we like the cut of your jib, world builders. We want to help out. How about we give you some of that old matching money? They dropped $100,000 of matching money on us. And like, we hit it in a day. We used up all that money in a day. And then they're like, what? How about another $100,000 in matching money? Because we're impressed. And we're like, thank you very much. 2 days. We used it. We hit 400,000. And then they're like, okay, how about when you hit 500,000, we're going to give you another $100,000 worth of money to match. Right now, I got to refresh this thing here. We are at 441. And when we're not even a week in to our, 2-week charity fundraiser, and when we hit 500,000, we're gonna we get another 100,000 of matching money. If you can help us get there, that'd be awesome. But you know what? Here's the thing, because everybody loves winning free shit. Everybody wants to be part of something cool. You want to come in and be part of something cool? That's great. This is a great charity. You can change a family's life forever. But you know what I'm really offering today? If you've kind of been beat up by 2020 and you kind of feel sad, and you feel like it's just hard some days to even do anything. The reason I keep doing this, and man, I hustle. I put a lot of my time and energy into this charity. What really keeps me going is every year people say, I've never donated to a charity before. I came in this year, I put in some money, and it felt so good. And I'm like, yeah, it does, doesn't it? It feels good. At $30, it's like, man, $30 is a lot of money. There's been times in my life where $30 was groceries for 2 weeks. But for a family out there, $30 is their kids getting to go to school, and they get to sell honey and wax and eat out of their garden. And because they have an income stream, if they need it, they can buy medicine, and they can buy, they can send their kids to school where they couldn't before. You put that money in, and I guarantee you will immediately feel good. You will know that you have done good in the world. That's how I keep going, folks. That's how I get up in the morning, and that's how I sleep at night. Because I've been very lucky. I got published. I have money. My children, knock wood, will never deal with hunger or fear of hunger. But if you're watching this on a computer, you are one of the 1% wealthiest people in the world. And I'm not saying your life is easy, because I know it ain't. Because nobody's life is easy in 2020. But you have access to some resources, and $10, if everybody chips in $10, it's a ton of money, and Heifer makes it work. And you win cool shit, and you feel good. The end. That's the end of my pitch. Thanks for coming to my TED Talk.
Yay! And actually, can I say a little bit?
Please.
Me too.
Of course. The Geek and Center community and both my Twitch community have in the past worked with world builders, and I've known their charity and their people for many years now, since their inception. And it's true. A lot of times for charities, people are like, oh, I wish I could donate, and I can't really give much, $5. But $5 actually goes a super long way for world builders. And I've worked with numerous different charities, and World Builders is such a good bang for your buck, if you will, honestly. And they broke it down, and I think like one year they were like, you donated X number of goats, or like this one donation gave like X number of beehives, and it's right now it's like incredibly important. Heifer does really good work, and yeah, thank you so much to everybody for watching. Oh, and another thing too is that if you can't donate at all, then like just retweet or share this with somebody, or sort of spread the word, and that helps a ton too. Because somebody else, if you get one other person to donate $5, then that's that's part of a beehive or part of a fruit tree. Honestly, it really is. So it's rare that you can get an actual quantifiable measure of where your money is going, and you get that with Heifer and World Builders. So yeah.
I will say this is a new thing I've been wanting for years, and the new team finally implemented it. If you go to worldbuilders.org, because if you've been burned by a charity before, it's right. If you're fine to be skeptical, like it's hard to trust these days. Go to World Builders, and they have an interactable map. Interactive.
We're all wordsmiths here.
You can go and look at it, and you can see a lot of the places that World Builders has given money to over the years. And it's like, hey, alpaca here in a community in Peru. And now they have wool, and now they have, the ability to sell goods and do industry, and over here in Nepal and over here just everywhere. So you can poke around and see some of the things we've done.
Yeah, I just my dramatic lighting has shifted. I said it would, by the way. It just comes across over the course of this. Yeah, I just +1 to everything Erika said. I would just say that we throw around these big numbers, and all this has been raised, and 100 will get this, and we raised 400,000 that, and you might be thinking it's like, well, I don't have $5. There's been plenty of times in my life I did not have an extra $5. Literally every bit helps. If it's $1, it really does all add up. And yes, it costs nothing to signal boost and help spread the word. So that was it. That's all I have to say. Now we can we're done being wonderful human beings and can go back to being terrible predatory monstrous vampires. Thank you all for being
There
with
we
us.
go.
Indeed. Very important statements, obviously. And of course, we thank everybody who has contributed. And if nothing else, we thank everybody who has taken time out of their Saturday to join us. And so, without further ado, let's get back to Bunny's Pancake House.
Burn this place to the ground.
You might get your wish. Victor, you look at your cell phone, and you keep seeing that spooling symbol that says that your message has still not quite been sent. And you can see the bars of your cell phone reception switch from that terrible little no symbol to that one tiny little bar, and then back again and again. By this time, Bunny has returned, of course, and has brought the 2 mugs of coffee for those that requested it. By this time, enough time has passed that your own body heat, or lack thereof, has sort of made the mug that you're holding no longer provide the warmth that it had initially did when it was fresh out of the pot. However, your fingers do, especially with the lack of heating now in the room, your fingers do feel a certain amount of sensation return back to them. After what seems like a few more minutes, eventually the lights do flicker back on, turn off again, turn back on again, and then finally seem to hit some sort of form of stasis. As everything is occurring, a lot of you who are inside of the meeting sort of can't help but see how the mortals are faring out in the diner. It would seem that a number of them, now that the power has turned back on, seem to be huddling around the television, which exists in the corner of the diner itself. On that, they can see what appears to be a local meteorologist or TV weather personality who is currently looking over the various cold fronts and systems that seem to be moving in. You catch a few choice words and descriptions coming from it. It seems that the pattern that you are experiencing is an interesting colloquial phenomenon that has the colorful name of the Witch of November. It's rather similar to the Santa Ana winds, or perhaps even hurricane weather that is felt in the southeast. But it is something that is exclusive to the Great Lakes. It happens in late fall, early winter, when gale force winds sweeping off of Lake Superior and the various other bodies of water bring huge cold fronts and dangerous conditions even to those who live in the area. As a result, a great number of people seem to be looking at that, and you can even catch the sense that a number of them seem to even be discussing amongst themselves, wondering whether some of them should leave now and try and beat the conditions home. But regardless, as that happens and as the power turns back on, everyone returns to the table and wonders if they wish to continue where they had left off. The Reverend finally speaks up and addresses everyone. Well, once again, ladies and gentlemen, I must apologize. This is certainly not the expectations that I had, and any sort of prognostications toward the weather itself seems to have been all for ill. There are some things that simply we cannot predict. I am willing to continue this meeting, of course, and if anyone else is willing to continue along, I do wish to assure you that I do intend to ensure that the rest of our discussions goes as smoothly and as comfortably as possible.
I would just say I do lean over to Annabelle when he says this. I say, something I don't think we ever told you because it didn't really matter where we're from. It is possible for us to freeze to death. It's not easy, but we can.
Genghis sort of leans over at this. Yeah, I've seen it. Your body just sort of gets all rigid. It's like you get rigor mortis and everything. Your vitae freezes inside of your own body. I've seen it happen.
Huh. Good to know. And Annabelle clutches her coffee a little tighter.
I guess here's as good a place to talk as anywhere, I suppose. So, yeah, please continue. That, as I said, I'm willing to have open communication and assistance in as much as is feasible.
Well, that is fantastic. I'm rather glad. Good Lord, the Reverend says suddenly as he looks toward the window. As all eyes travel toward that, Victor, you see once again what appears to be Ryan, who has thrown open the door to the entrance of the pancake house. There is a trail of deep red blood that is following behind him. He seems to be clutching at both his face and his side simultaneously, pushing open the door with with his shoulder. And as he enters into the pancake house itself, he seems to slip on the rather slippery floor where people have tracked in the ice and the snow from their shoes, unable to keep himself aloft. The Reverend turns and looks to you.
Oh my god!
Is that your friend?
Annabelle starts bolting towards the diner.
You said there's like two-way glass, like frosted glass. Like, do I have any idea of its thickness?
It appears to be a two-way mirror. It wouldn't take a great deal of effort for someone with of your strength to break through it. Even a human conceivably could throw a chair through it and break through.
I will just say, as Annabelle starts to stand up, I just kind of hold on to her wrist for a second, and I say, "We don't leave a man down." And I soaring leap through the window.
Oh!
Yeah.
There is a sudden gasp from everybody assembled in the restaurant, even those who are assembled at the meeting, the kindred seem utterly shocked by this bold move. But yet, Victor, you crash through the two-way mirror, the shards of glass raining down around you as you land onto the ground in front of the supine body of Ryan.
When I stand up,
through the window.
I do just sort of shake the glass off, and when everybody's looking at me, mass manipulation, defend me.
All right, excellent. There is a wave of acquiescence that washes over the assembled, and though they do not make any immediate movements, you are confident that should you become threatened, you will be defended.
Blake, I would like to kind of position myself in a dark spot, like a shadowy spot near the broken window, and like just kind of peer outside. And I'd like to use shadow perspective, like to get to like see under the car where Ryan was, and just kind of like be able to look out from there and see what's going on around there. I have a question for flavor purposes. If Margot lights a cigarette, can that be seen within her shadow, or can it stay dark?
Technically, it is flame, and flame is one of the few things that that the somber really cannot abide. So I believe that
a vape.
No, she pulls out like a little Mad Men looking like leather cigarette pouch and like puts it in her mouth, and then seems to realize she's standing in a shadow and rolls her eyes, sticks it behind her ear, and just kind of holds it unlit and seems to be peering out towards the shadowy area underneath Ryan and Victor's car.
I would just like to say, if I saw you vaping, I would mock you endlessly. Also, I did make my 2 rouse checks. I did pass both for the sake of...
Excellent. And if you would make your rouse check for shadow perspective.
Perspective?
Yes.
I got a 10.
Excellent. So your beast remains tethered upon its leash. It knows.
Cool as a darkened cucumber.
Excellent. Ryan, as you sort of kneel in front of him, seems to be doing his best to try and push himself back onto his feet.
Real quickly before we move forward, once that happens, Todd like springs to his feet and knocks his chair over backwards and probably gets tangled up in it and then falls down. And all this stuff comes out of his backpack, and he kind of gets. He flails around very uselessly. I just wanted to get my action in. I'll roll for it if you want.
You and David are pretty much two of a kind at that point, as the chaos ensues, and the both of you just seem to fumble over yourselves. Victor, you see the blood pouring from him, and it is difficult with your undead predatory nature to feel pure altruistic sympathy for him. You are, of course, seeing his lifeblood leaking out onto the floor, and while that is, of course, precious to him, it is also precious to you.
He is not my type. I will roll it if you make me roll it, but he's not my type.
Oh no, it is certainly not enough to provoke your beast into further hunger, but it's something you can't fail to not notice.
I just look at Annabelle, and I do kind of like, if I see any like clearly open wounds, I just say, "Will you help me move him, please?"
Yeah. Annabelle picks him up and like pretends to grunt. She's like, yeah.
And as you lift him, your manufactured sound of effort is drowned out by a scream of pain as you lift him up.
Is there a table long enough to lay him on, or the counter, or just so he's not like laying gross on the floor, basically?
Yeah, the bar is absolutely long enough, and as that happens, it seems that Rita, the waitress, has run into the back and returned with what appears to be a large first aid kit.
I just when she sort of puts him down, I just say, "Relax, you did good. What happened? Just tell me what happened."
He looks at you, and with a pure desperation that could read as nothing but sincerity, simply shakes his head. I don't know.
Right, just stay quiet and lie still. I'm gonna just look over the body. Like, I really don't have any medical training, but I can see if something's open and sort of like field medic stuff.
Why don't you go ahead and give me an intelligence plus medicine check?
I would say while she's doing that, and I realize she's the altruist and going to try and save his life, I just, without taking my eyes off of him, I say, Reverend, what the fuck?
I'm
happening?
looking. I'm trying to get an answer.
And you look through the now shattered open window. It seems that the Reverend has left the office and apparently is making his way back around via the hallway. He rushes into the diner and, along with pretty much all of the other inhabitants within, Bunny included, seems to be looking upon the situation with just as much confusion, shock, and concern as yourself. Annabelle, how'd that roll go?
I got a bestial failure.
Oh, no.
You know
Remember,
what?
you can spin willpower. You can spin willpower.
I'm gonna push. I'm gonna push. Burn the willpower. And
It's been a while, I know.
I failed, but it's not too bad.
Well, that's good. You look over Ryan's body, and you don't need too much medical training to be able to determine that he seems to have suffered a series of pretty major lacerations. His clothes, his white dress shirt, is completely soaked through at this point. And as you are peeling it back, the fabric seems to be sticking to his body. So much so that, well, for you, it is all but impossible to ignore. Your hunger will increase by 1, but as you are looking him over, it is becoming immediately obvious that without any sort of proper medical attention, he will bleed out.
Okay. Is there a doctor? Does anybody have any medical training here?
Everyone sort of looks to one another, waiting for somebody to say something. None of the mortals assembled seem to be springing into action.
From the other side of the shattered, getting to his feet, Vod's like, I did like a semester of like first aid at the Y. Like, I got, it's, I mean, you know?
I'll take it.
Okay, so like I hustle, I like climb really awkwardly through the window, or like whatever. I'm making all speed, and I am not graceful about it. But yeah, I'll go over there.
As he's approaching, I lean over to Annabelle and I say, I'm not going to let him die here. Not because of me. Not like this.
As you have this conversation, Reverend Lenoir approaches you, Victor, and placing a hand upon your shoulder, he leans in, whispering quietly enough so that none of the mortals assembled can hear. I assure you, I have no clue how this would have happened. This is the last thing that I would have wanted, but believe me, if any of my guests are in danger, I will lay down my life to make sure that they remain safe, and that includes your retainer.
It's whatever security you got activated.
What?
Where's that La Sombra?
Also, I'm checking while I'm sort of like pulling back the dressings and stuff. Like, does it look like claw marks at all?
It looks exactly like claw marks. And in fact, Victor, as you are looking upon it, you are struck with a gruesome familiarity.
So
I have seen these types of injuries before, as I just sort of like rub my midsection.
Do I see anything in my secret shadow spot where I'm looking around?
It's a great question. As you are looking around, what you do see, or rather what is important, is what you have failed to see. When you arrived, the snow was falling, sure, but it certainly was not the blizzard that seems to have kicked up in as of the past hour. The wind and the precipitation is whipping around in such a degree that it is difficult to see any sort of shapes or any sort of distance past a certain degree. You seem to be experiencing what is colloquially known as a whiteout.
Literally the worst thing to happen to me.
Oh shit!
This is a Sombra nightmare.
And
she gives up and lights her cigarette.
And as this happens, the large window that faces toward the outside of the parking lot, you all notice, and even Rita herself gives a scream and points toward it. The glass of the windows is starting to frost over at a remarkable speed, so much so that you are able to witness it occurring before your naked eyes. The crystallization seems to spiderweb out from the bottom over the top until the entirety of the window itself seems to be completely frosted over. You can make out vague shapes, and you can see the soft glow of light of a streetlight out in the distance. But as far as getting any sort of idea as to just what exactly is outside, your visibility has been effectively shattered at this point. As this is occurring, what you do happen to see is what appears to be a rather large silhouette of something. It maybe is 8 to 10 feet tall, but rather long. It seems to be walking. No, walking is not quite accurate. It seems to be lurching on all fours. Every single footstep causes a soft rumble inside of the diner. And you can feel the resonance of some sort of deep, thunderous growling.
Annabelle.
Go ahead.
No, please. Did you?
So I was saying, and if that was not terrifying enough, then you notice the second one that seems to approach from the other side of the window. And these two large, hulking figures pace back and forth in front of that window.
I've got my gun. Do you have your rings?
So Annabelle points to the two guys in camouflage and says, "You two, take this man into the back room, and as well as the rest of the diners. Go." And while she's doing that, she goes up to the gift shop area and starts loading up on all of the silver rings and jewelry and says, "Sorry, Bunny, I need to borrow these." And forms a brass knuckle of stacked silver rings.
So noted. The two hunters seem to, react with a slight surprise as you so quickly bark orders toward them, but they are taken by your determination and by your split-second decision-making. They look to each other and seem to confer wordlessly among themselves before the two of them go and grab Ryan, one by his arms, one by his legs. Go ahead, Victor.
Before they take him, I bite my thumb and I give him a little bit of my vitae. I'm going to give him a dot of fortitude, ghoul him. I just say, no sleeping on the job, Ryan.
So noted. And they heave him. Yes?
Go ahead, finish your description of Ryan, and then I will chime in.
They heave him up and begin to take him back toward the kitchen area, far away from the broken glass and far away from the windows. It would seem that the waitress follows along with the first aid kit in tow, and the two truckers who had remained inside as well also follow along. Bunny stays outside with the rest of you, and Annabelle, as you go looking through the convenience store, you do remember the coin pusher arcade machine that seemed to have large pieces of gaudy silver jewelry. And so, with a rather quick boom smash of your elbow, you are able to shatter the glass and pull the large necklace with the large silver pendant free from it, and can wrap the chain around your wrist enough to make a decent custom weapon or improvised weapon.
Margot would like to do two things. One, look around for a fire axe. She's going to equip her, if she can find like a fire axe by like a fire hydrant on the wall. If she can't, she'll find something else. But that's what she's looking for first. She's also going to turn the lights down. If anybody asks, she's like, it's dark out, it's bright in here. I feel like if our lights are low, we're going to have a better chance of like hiding from this thing. Also, she would just feel more comfortable if the lights were low.
Of course.
When I see this happening, like Victor sort of walks kind of into the middle of the diner. Like, so if they come in, he'll be very visible. And he just says, they already know we're in here. And the first rule of fighting lupines is don't. So does anyone know which tribe runs things around here?
Everyone seems to look at each other as though they're not sure to what you are speaking. Genghis gives a shrug. In my dealings with lupines, I never had enough chat with them to learn anything about clubs or tribes or anything like that. I just know that there's one way to take care of them, and he reaches into his jacket. And Victor, you notice that he removes what appears to be a rather large Desert Eagle pistol that has been rather gaudily customized. It seems to have been plated with platinum and with some sort of rhinestone affectations upon it. It's familiar.
Did you fucking bedazzle a Desert Eagle? Like, what even? Ah!
Oh my god, you're one to talk. That seems
No, mine is classic, okay? It is on brand. This is apparently on brand too. You know what? Hey, but if it works, it works, man. Like, okay, whatever. Like, just, Annabelle, do not be like him.
So no.
Don't tell a Bruja not to do something. That's the best way to get him to do it.
The Reverend sort of strokes his chin slightly. Well, they seem to just be waiting for something. They could smash through that glass at any moment, but they seem content with pacing outside. Are they trying to intimidate us? What is it?
Well, so you don't have this place warded? I was thinking they just couldn't come. Okay, so, real quick powwow. They didn't want to kill Ryan, or Ryan would have been in fucking chunks. So, apparently they are not here just for abject murder, as you say. I'm willing to open negotiations if you all are okay with that.
Genghis looks to you and gives a somber shrug. It's your funeral, but if you want to go out and play ambassador, you will be going out alone.
That is a terrible idea. Do not play ambassador with that thing. We need to hide from it or kill it.
I look at Annabelle and I say, you remember the last time we were together, how it ended?
Yeah, I mean, very few of these things seem like they're like strikes, but...
No, I mean the last time you and I were together. Do you remember how it ended?
Oh. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
In the interest of perhaps tactical awareness, do you wish to enlighten us as to what you are referring?
I don't. Vod, yes?
Well, actually, just in to the Storyteller. they took Victor away. I'm sorry, no, they took the
Right.
Ryan away, and like I was sort of I came out to help, and then he's like, take him away, so that I kind of probably followed them back. Is dude gonna die? Like looking at him, is he gonna die?
Without a transfusion, absolutely.
Okay. Now, even like knowing what I know, and I saw, like, did I see him do his thing? Like,
as in feeding him a bit of Vitae? Assuming that you do, he has been bought much more time.
Okay, so it's not like in the next. It's not in the next 15 minutes. He's got a little bit.
By the end of the night, shall we say?
Okay, end of the night's fine, but so I give him a quick check over, and then seeing the other two people are there, then I do come back out. After I'm sure of that.
Yeah.
Shit! Do I have to roll a hunger thing because I just touched all the bloody man?
Go ahead and make a rouse check, so you can roll a single hunger die. And if it is a success, you are fine.
Now, is this red or black?
Red.
Okay. We did not have these fancy dice back when I played the game.
That wasn't a thing back when we played the game, yeah.
If it comes up with nothing on it, is that good?
That is bad. That is a fail.
Good. So your hunger will increase by 2. What that basically means is that in all further dice rolls, you will replace 2 of your regular black dice with 2 red hunger dice.
Can I use a little bit of willpower to not start freaking out at the beginning of all this?
If you would like to spend a willpower to sort of temper your nerves and reaction, that's totally fine. It will not assist you with re-rolling a hunger rouse check, unfortunately.
Okay. Cool enough. Then so was I at 1 before? Or?
Yes, you are at 1 before, and you are now at 2. Everyone's defaults to 1 unless they've been naughty. 1 tends to be the standard. You're always a little bit hungry.
Right. Okay. So good. I just wanted to make sure that I was playing that right, and then I will come out to where the powwow is happening, probably with some of the blood on me, having kind of done a quick triage.
Yeah, as you are back checking over things, it seems as though the mortals are all in sort of a titter amongst themselves, discussing what could possibly be going on. The current prevailing theory is that there seem to be 2 rather large, rather aggressive black bears that seem to be right outside, probably attracted by the smell of the grease and the cooking that's going on. Victor, do you have a question?
I was just going to say, for the record, I have rationalized, so not only do they want to protect me, they think it's a great idea to protect me.
Oh, yeah, you seem to be the guy in charge, so yeah. Makes sense.
Back out, I just sort of look at everybody, eye contact, and kind of nod for a second. And then I just raise my voice slightly, and I say, I know you two can hear me. And if you just wanted to kill us all, you'd have done it. So why not come on in and let's have a chat?
Your words are met with the continued whipping and howling of the winter winds outside. There's no sort of contemplative pause or consideration of your words. They simply continue their ominous pacing back and forth. It's like seeing a tiger at the zoo as it just walks back and forth and back and forth. There's a sense of boredom there, but at the same time, this seems to be deliberate.
No reason to think this building is going to collapse under the storm. You think they're waiting for the sun to come up when we're 100% helpless?
They're waiting for something.
Probably. Hey, Blake.
Uh-huh.
If I try shadow cast into the whiteout, what happens?
Mm-hmm. Well, it depends on what you're wanting to do. will manipulate and influence whatever shadows are outside, of which there are a decent amount.
Sure. Well, and also Shadowcast is where you you conjure a shadow from your own body. So I'm like, what if I send a little like curious shadow into like the side along the building, and I'm just like basically trying to get an idea of the lay of the area, and also see if these things, if there's any evidence of what these things are, where they came from around that isn't obvious.
Sure. Go ahead and make your roll to do that, and we'll say as you are focusing on elongating your shadow to reach out and under the door and into the night air. Go ahead and
I fail my rouse check, so
okay.
I get a little irritable and hungry about it.
Mm-hmm. As Margot is doing that, David Rothstein begins to furiously bite his nails as his eyes just continue to track the pacing creatures that appear to be outside. No, they're just waiting. They're just waiting for dawn. They're waiting for dawn, and then they're going to walk in, and they're going to kill us all. They're going to eat us all, and we won't be able to do anything. We'll be helpless.
I wonder to be like close to Annabelle a little bit, like just kind of like sidestepping, and I'm like, so for real though, are those are
werewolves.
Those are werewolves, right? Cool. Yeah.
Werewolves.
Also,
like we're talking. Let's see, just traditional rules. Silver works. They're super strong.
Cool. But also like there's like two of them. Also, when you said they're big out there, how big is big?
As in about the size of Victor's luxury SUV that he pulled up.
Okay. See, that's a good clarifying detail. Like, so like prehistoric bear, like D&D cave bear, sort of like super bear.
Yeah, the humans who are saying that it's probably a bear are just simply using the closest approximation of what they could assume that this thing could possibly be.
Cool. So I say to Annabelle, I'm like, but like there's two of them, and they're like, we're all vampires though, right? We're vampires, and like we're super strong too, right? Like you guys have done this before, and it's cool, right? You guys are okay. Like you all are like big mucky mucks vampires. Everybody seems really scared, and of course I'm scared, but like you guys are like, you got this, right?
Oh, kid, I don't. I've never done this before. But I can hide in the shadows. I don't know what you're going to do.
It's okay. Look, we fought one and went real bad, so prepare for the worst.
Hold on, you fought one? Hold on, it went bad? How many of you were there? And my voice gets like loud and high, and then I bring it back down.
Genghis actually speaks up at this. We had a group of them roll into Chicago not too many years back, and it devastated us.
Like, how many is us? Like, you said just you, and it went bad? How many?
Dozens of kindred got ashed when those guys rolled in.
But you're like Baron. Also, first, I thought your name was Baron, but you're like a real Baron, right? So, like, you're obviously, like, you're, like, right?
I lift up my sweater and I show him where across my midsection I have 4 ragged scars of where a lupine scratched me, but I survived.
Oh, holy shit! This guy's got his stripes.
I've done it before, and again, my suggestion is don't. Because
did you win or did you get away because you're alive?
All 3, yes.
But did you kill? Okay, so actually, what I want to do is I want to do insight, and I want to know: are all these people legit freaked out? Are all these vampires around me, these badasses, legitimately like? Well, maybe we have 2 hours, maybe we make it till morning, but we're probably dead now.
Well, it certainly won't require any sort of insight roll to get a glimpse on how David Rothstein is doing. He is rather rather nervous, and he, as everyone else is sort of discussing, his eyes are furiously moving back and forth as he seems to be going over some sort of horrible scenario within his mind again and again and again, playing out what he assumes his fate to be, and only making himself more and more anxious. Genghis has his usual bravado to him, but he is still visibly shaken. And if he is to be believed and he has encountered werewolves or lupines before, he most certainly seems to know what they are capable of. Lastly, the Reverend himself does appear to be rather nervous, but is at the same time trying to maintain a calm base. As the host of this event, he is doing what he can to try and maintain some sense of cohesion. And at that, he sort of speaks up. Well, it is certainly true that one of them is more than a match for one of us, and two of them is certainly more than a match for two of us, but we do have the benefit of numbers, and we do have the benefit of discussion and planning and some sort of, perhaps, a tactical advantage.
Hey,
If we work together on this, we may be able to come out.
He's got a point.
I want to, like, is anything supernatural happening here? Like, lights went out. Is this all mechanical? Also, I want to, from what I understand about premonition, I can take it as it comes, or I can kind of go looking.
Yeah, you can willingly seek into the ether to try and gain insight as to future events. That will require a rouse check, and then I believe a resolve plus aspects roll.
Okay. So will this be visible to other people, or am I just doing it in my own head?
We'll sort of dip into your own head for a little bit and maybe, focus yourself slightly. It's really more how you determine your character indulges in such things. But no, there's no sort of projection of, mental imagery or anything that anyone else can see.
Or like my eyes don't roll back or whatever, so...
Yeah, it still depends on how you choose to roleplay it, but yeah, nothing overt.
Okay, so what I will do is, assuming nothing is showing up for Sense the Unseen, in terms of, like, there's a magical mojo happening, okay, then I say, okay, guys, if we need an edge, right, tactics, know thy enemy, like Mima, like, my grandma was half gypsy, and I think that now those powers are, like, I think I sometimes see the future. Like, I got real close to the lottery.
I don't think we use that word anymore, but if you're saying you can glimpse the future, have at it. Also,
it's okay.
Yeah, just do that.
It's okay for me because I'm 1/16 that.
I don't think that's how that works. But yes, if you can take a look, do it. Also, I definitely think this dude's Malkavian. Anyhow, yes, please have at it.
While you are making that roll,
okay,
Margot, as you have sent your shadow out into the night,
nervously smoking a cigarette in the corner of the window.
You are certainly able to get a better perspective outside than you are inside with the glass frosted over. However, it is not exactly a crystal clear picture. From outside, you are definitely able to ascertain that these are indeed lupines. They are indeed large, and they do indeed seem to be pacing back and forth in front of the window. As you look at them, it is really something to lay your eyes upon them in person, so to speak. The fur that seems to be matting their bodies are thick and almost like porcupine quills as they walk and move through the huge banks of snow that seem to be building up around them. Their body heat is so intense that the snow around them is melting, and their figures themselves seem to be steaming with some sort of intense, hungry rage. Their eyes seem to be glowing with this soft ember of a bright blue. And their tongues, as they hang freely from their mouths, their breath letting out these huge gouts of steam, drops these huge wads of saliva that just melt and sizzle right through the snow as it falls and drops. As you look around everywhere else, it seems that all of the vehicles are still there, with the exception of one SUV that seems to have had its driver's side door ripped off of its hinges. In addition to that, you also see what appears to be, yes, I'm very sorry, Victor, what appears to be a utility shed with what might be a snowplow or some sort of snow-capable vehicle inside. What was your question?
I'd like to go in that SUV and look around.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, looking inside.
My little shadow. Yeah, I'd like to look in the shadow. I mean, it's open. It's open. So
Yeah,
I'm
you
just
don't need
looking.
a warrant for that.
You know,
I got eyes. I got eyes.
This is the level of pettiness I aspire to, right here.
Yes.
I'm here to tell you, it is nice. It is nice inside the SUV.
It is very nice, and there's hardly any sort of cluttering whatsoever. You are able to see that in the back area, there seems to be some sort of customized sun guard that prevents any of the interior windows from letting in any sort of harmful UV rays. But in terms of searching over things like registration or whatnot, that would be in the glove box, and unfortunately, you're unable to open anything. But you are able to observe.
All right. I peek around a little, and then probably realize that we can come back to this later when we're not looking for werewolves. And she'll put her cigarette out and bring her attention back to the diner. Your SUV is fucked, my man. I'm sorry to hear it. But it seems like there's a shed out there that's got some tools, which might be useful, but more importantly, a snowplow.
Are you able to physically travel through the Oblivion?
No, not quite yet. But I can sure put my eyes on it. Oh, but like you, I'm pretty strong, so I can help get there.
Buddy nods and steps forward. Yeah, I keep that thing gassed up because I usually gotta make room so that the truckers can get out when they leave in the morning. We might be able to escape in that. I think it could conceivably, if we get comfortable, fit inside.
Rev, you said there was a place for us to sleep. Is there a way out? Is there the basements that come out somewhere else on the property? We will not outrun them. We won't.
There is a small postern, but it does not lead. It leads us pretty far from the property, but even further from any sort of vehicle or means of escape. Much faster than our feet.
Can I do the premonition real quick?
Yeah. Did you make your roll?
I'm looking it up here in the book. What's the thing again?
No worries. I believe it is resolve plus your aspect.
Okay.
Yep. Rouse, check, resolve, and aspects.
Okay. So, what I do is I'm like, and like right in the middle, I'm like, okay, cool. I just need to, and I reach out and I grab the Baron and Annabelle's hands, and I'm like, we all need to just, and then there's that. Now, even the checks are different in this vampire, so successes work different.
Correct, yeah. It is the amount of successes. Mm-hmm.
No, sorry. You're running this, Mr. Howard. I apologize.
It's all right. Anytime you have advice to offer, that's totally okay.
But straight up, what is a success now? Because that used to be different. I played first edition.
If it has a little onk symbol, if you are using the official V5 dice, if it has a little onk symbol, then that is a success. If it has a little onk symbol with two sides, that means that you have effectively rolled a 10. And if you get 2 or more of those, you have rolled a critical.
Oh, that's neat. I actually brought up my old 10-siders thinking that explains...
well, in that case, a 6 or higher equals a success.
No. That's cool. I got these. I'm going to use my fancy new dice. Jeez. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4. I got 1 onk and 1 fancy onk.
1 onk and 1 fancy onk, so that is 2 successes. You reach into the ether of your powers of Auspex, seeing the various threads of time unraveling before you and trying to get a sense onto something tangible. Now, is there a specific question that you are seeking to answer?
Yeah, like, is everything gonna break for real bad here if I don't do something? Do I have to...
You get the sense that if you all are content to wait it out inside, the lupines are content to wait it out outside until the sun comes up. And then they don't even have to worry about a fight.
Okay. Okay. And just for my mental picture of this place, it's a diner, but also everything. There's a big glass front. There's got to be there's a kitchen door, probably. There's a back door. There's so many doors, right?
There's most assuredly an entrance into the kitchen area, or into the diner area itself. There's an entrance into the convenience store gas station section. And there is, you can assume, and perhaps even saw it when you went back out there, there does appear to be a back door for the kitchen area that heads toward the garbage cans and other such utility areas.
Okay. And can the werewolves out there hear us talk in here because they have supernatural senses? Probably.
Assume so.
Good guess.
Okay. So what there, and I'm going to do that. And then I like, and then I stop and I'm like, and I say, so quiet. And I'm like, okay, all bullshit aside, we should probably go somewhere and have a little planning session where maybe they can't.
Oh, jeez, we're gonna die, aren't we?
Shut your bullshit up, man. But let's not talk about it here. Straight face. I think, no, my Mima's spirit has spoken to me from the past. Like, I think we're safe, guys. It's like they're not coming in because they can't. This is a sacred space. It's built on the bones of some sort of holy place, like probably an ancient, American Indian thing. So yeah, we're good. That's why they can't come in here, man. We're safe.
Honor and a privilege to be graced by the presence of a kindred of your power. I didn't even know kindred of your age were still walking and capable of such tremendous wonders.
Yeah.
Thank you. I mean, I'm just glad to help.
Great. We start moving towards.
As this is happening, you all move.
But your friend he could probably use a kind word right now, since we know we're safe in here. If you want to come back into this inner room, he was rough, man. I did what I could. Do you want to come back here with me for a second? We'll do what we can for him. We're safe. We're totally safe.
I guess, believe it or not, like kind of on the hallway, because out of earshot of the mortals, but hopefully out of the earshot of the lupines, although I'm still kind of assuming the lupines can hear. When we just sort of like move a little bit away, I'm like, if you ask me, the snowplow is still a non-starter because they will just chase it down and rip it apart or knock it on its side or bust out the windshield and let us cook in the sunlight.
Oh yeah, 100%. They're, and like the little bit of like half surfer dude, half Youper accent is totally gone at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, no. He's like, if we leave here, we're fucked. If we wait for dawn, we're fucked.
So what are we gonna do? Can we call someone or?
No, we gotta kill it.
Okay, if you can't be quiet, you can't be part of this conversation. And
okay, fair. Sorry.
Because they can't know that we're going to have to sucker them in and have a trap. Okay.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah, Annabelle, you're saying something.
You.
Me?
God. No, not you, Hot Topic.
Sorry. This is David speaking.
Oh, yeah. No.
He probably shops at Hot Topic too. It's fine.
Yeah. Oh,
it's
sorry.
possible.
What happened?
what? Not who I appear to be. Sorry, we could do the unpack later if you really want, but also I didn't even get to, like, my real name was supposed to be Todd, but I wanted to be Vod because that sounded more vampire-y. Didn't even get to do that. Right. So, how do we sucker them in? Do we think there's only 2? Because I think with an ambush trap we could maybe do 2, but I mean,
What kind of trap are you thinking?
I can probably lock down 1.
Is there a big walk-in freezer? Those things are pretty intense. Maybe we can lock one in there. At least long enough to get away.
There's one of them. Bunny replies.
If that cold isn't bothering them, the freezer's not going to bother them. And they can take a deep freeze door off its hinges. She can, but I pointed at Annabelle.
Well, in that case, I mean... So, okay, well, that's good to know, right? I mean, I'm pretty strong, too. I could probably take that door off its hinges, too. It's good to know which of us can deal a hit and which of us can take one.
Here's the 3 things, though. They're outside right now because they're happy to wait. And that means if we wait, we lose. And if we run out there and attack them, we probably lose. So we need to figure out a way to get them to come in and attack us. Somewhere where we can sort of reverse ambush predator. Either this room or maybe the freezer wouldn't be bad.
Their weaknesses are fire, silver, our teeth, believe it or not, our claws, but you don't necessarily want to be standing there going 30 style boxing with one of them because they hurt a lot worse.
Yeah. Now, in here, Storyteller, I need an answer to the question.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
How long do wards last?
That's a good question. The wards with which you came in with are everlasting.
Right, but like a place, like there's so many doors here.
Yeah.
Well, for that you would more than likely need a warding circle.
Yep.
Which may be outside of your realm of expertise.
Well, I could do like a door, and that's just it. And so I'm like, here's the thing: I can make it so that if they cross a threshold, they're going to regret it real bad, and that would be the perfect time for a trap. If they're like, haha, now they're backed into the freezer, we're going to go in there and it's going to be a meat grinder and they're the meat. But as soon as they rush through that door, they hit the wards. I could do that up real quick.
It's good to know that we got wards. I mean, remember, they're smart. They're still human level intelligence. So if we suddenly look defenseless, like, oh no, please don't come in this one room. I mean, they know that. They do, however, need to breathe. Margot, are you capable of dropping the Stygian Shroud?
I'm not, but that doesn't mean there are ways we can't make that happen, right? I mean, there are all sorts of things we can do just where we are if we're clever. Like what are things around here that we have large amounts of that could hurt them?
Do you have a deep fryer?
Oh,
there we go. Or like boiling water. Let's think of things like that.
Okay, and looking over it, it's like, is there like a barrel of grease like around, the grease trap, like, and
yeah. As you walk through, it seems to be your standard, hash slashing, or hash slinging, sort of setup. So definitely lots of grease traps, lots of deep fryers, that sort of thing.
Oh man.
I'm gonna die in a Home Alone movie.
I'll say, do you mind if I try something real quick? Everybody, is it cool? You tried to negotiate. Can I try to do a thing real quick?
I mean, is it going to get us all murdered?
I mean, I'd be first. I'm not saying no, but I'll be out front.
I'm going to go with them because if they make a move, I have something I'm going to do. So, I mean, I'll let him have his space to do his thing, but I mean, I'll be back 10 feet because if they go after him, I have a thing.
So, I need something hand-sized. I probably have like a little journal diary, like with that fake bad key lock that you can just break by prying it open in my bag, like one of those real tiny ones. And so I get it, and I take it, and as soon as I'm out, like I'm back in character again. I'm Vod, and I go to the front, and I'm like, and I go, fine, you won. You take it, and I throw it out towards them, and I'm like, just take it and go away. And I throw it out like toward them because it's only like what 20, 30 feet.
From where? From the entrance of the diner to...
Yeah.
Yeah. Now the interesting thing is that when you go to try and open the door, it does not budge immediately. It seems as though there has been a collection of ice that has frosted the door shut. You can certainly get it open, but it will require a little bit of effort.
I go tink tink. I'm like, ugh, and it's like, I'm like, can somebody?
Annabelle shoves her shoulder into it.
The ice shatters down and falls onto the ground while the door swings open and the cold wind rushes inside. As that happens, you are in the area for only a couple of seconds, and already you are up to your ankles in a suddenly approaching snowdrift.
Jeez. Okay, since the door's open anyway, I scream it into... As I start to shout, do they in any way attend to me?
You catch one that sort of lazily turns itself to look upon you. You throw it,
and I throw it like...
Its eyes do not even follow the thing that you have thrown.
Okay, but like I'm trying to get it like a thrown ball. I just want it to, like, it's either going to hit them, or they'll catch it, or they move out of the way, is what I'm going for with this throw.
I gotcha. I see. So you are trying to throw it at them.
Yeah, so they catch it. So it's like, no, fine. And I'm like, here, fine, take it. You win. Just go away. Just leave. And I throw it right, like literally at one of them. So it's either going to hit them, or they catch it, and just bounces off.
They make no attempt to sort of dodge out of the way. It thuds against them and presumably just falls onto the blanket of snow.
Okay. I'm like, well, and I'm like, and then it's like, and I step back. I'm like, yeah, shut the door.
Did it work? No? Okay.
We'll see. We'll see in a while. We'll see in a while.
The door.
Before they shut the door. As I'm standing there and he throws this thing and they're just looking, and I see the snowdrift, and I now realize the snow, the snow machine, the heck's the name of the device we've been talking about this whole
time?
Snowplow
is our only way out of here, and I know that's a certain death. I'm going to hit one of them with entrancement.
Okay.
I have roused my charisma. I failed that. I passed the rouse for entrancement, and with a willpower spent, have 10 successes with a messy crit.
Oh shit!
Ooh, 10 successes with a messy crit. All right. So you throw it. You throw the small journal, and it thuds against them, eliciting little more than a soft growl. They do not, however, immediately start bounding toward the door or anything of that nature. However, as Victor steps to the threshold and you activate your entrancement, let me know what you are doing with that.
Well, if it resists with its composure and wits, it's got to beat 10 successes.
Yep.
If not, I will then add I will add my presence dice to all of my social rolls. So if one of them seems a little more malleable, I'm going to try and negotiate again. Now that it feels supernaturally persuaded to maybe talk to me.
Gotcha. Go ahead, Tini.
I will let Victor continue, but Margot is trying to stealthily do a thing while this conversation is happening. We can come back to it. I just want to put a pin in this here.
Gotcha. Victor, you certainly feel one of them, the one upon the left's eyes, lock onto you. It is not a sort of eager receptiveness, but it is attention. And it seems to be paying it to you.
Now, we can... Actually, I'm going to go ahead and activate Awe anyway, because I know I've only got one of them entranced, but I still want the other one looking at me too, because at least it's not going to be killing anybody else in the next few seconds.
Mm.
I just look down at the stow and I say, we didn't know this was your turf. None of us live here. We'll get in our vehicles and go right now. This doesn't have to turn ugly. And I'm going for persuasion, not intimidation. Although I am making a point, I do not act like I'm afraid of them. I comprehend predators, so I'm very much like, okay, so look.
Sure.
We'll
Making your
fuck off, okay?
Also,
making
I
your frame as large as possible. Sure.
Yeah.
I'll also super toggle on blood of potency right now too. If thing is going to go south, I want to flip that shit right now.
All right.
Yeah.
Good to know. The one whose attentions you seem to have got looks at you, listens to what you are saying. Its jaws are continuing to drool and slather this this thick, almost noxious saliva.
Got a little.
You can tell that it seems to be hungry. Run, chase.
Oh man, I blew out my knee playing ball. I'm done with the running and chasing. Hey, so I turn and look at Annabelle and I'm like, forgive me for this. We do have some people back in there that I'm sure would be willing to run in all different directions if I asked them to, if that's all you're after.
Rot disease. It seems to be conversing with you in the best way that it currently seems to be capable of at this moment.
Mm-hmm. Victor has seen a lupine before. What color are these? Does there seem to be something wrong with them? Like, he's aware of the fact that there's different types, but I mean, do they look injured or misshapen or?
What are they trying to say?
They appear they appear monstrous, but that isn't necessarily abnormal. Their pelt is sort of a grayish white. There's this icy blueness to their eyes. They seem very much blending in with the snow around them.
Unfortunately, I know exactly what they are, but the Baron has no clue. Sorry, Annabelle.
Actually, I did want to speak up. When I opened that and there was a rime of ice on the outside, I was going to say, can I, like, occult to figure out, because I've been around the block, do I know what's going on there? Because I'm pretty sure even Pat does from back in the day. So I'd love to bring some useful information in here if it would help these folks.
Sure, if you would like to make an intelligence plus occult roll, keeping in mind that your hunger is 2, so you will have 2 hunger dice in that die pool.
Oh, is that how it works? And
you don't add them, but you do replace your normal dice with them.
Oh, neat. Okay, so there's that and that. Oh no, wait, my hunger went up by 2, so my hunger's at 3, right?
It should have gone up to 2, I believe, unless you failed another.
2. Okay, no, I thought you said it went up 2 points. So
no worries, my mistake.
Great. 3 onks and a shiny onk.
3 onks and a shiny onk. All right, well, that sounds to me like you have rolled 4 successes. You can definitely suss out that this is not any sort of natural weather pattern, or, it takes much, much longer for this amount of ice to form. There is most assuredly something occult, something supernatural at work here.
Is this my people, or is this werewolf bullshit?
This seems most likely, if you were to Occam's razor it, this seems to be werewolf bullshit. Okay, and any more than that with those successes that I can give the team? Yeah, if you are simply trying to figure out what its source is from, it seems to be coming from the werewolves themselves. But aside from that, you can certainly tell that it is that the snow and the wind and the frost and all of that seem to be supernaturally sourced.
Okay.
While
Annabelle, I
this
think
is
you were saying
happening-
something?
Oh,
Uh,
go ahead, Margot.
Oh, okay. So while I would like to use the opportunity where the Lycans seem to be speaking to Mr. Victor here. I don't know if Mission Snowplow is a go for like us as a family, but I am pretty sneaky, and I think I might be able to get over to that snowplow building by myself and get that bitch going. And that thing is much bigger and louder and faster and more like a werewolf than I am. So maybe it's it's like having a mech. I want to get in the mech.
I see.
Get away
So you are
bitch.
so you are nobly acting as a distraction, and is that it?
Well, no, Victor chose to do that when he chose to talk to them. I am benefiting from the distraction. I am using the power of stealth. Is there enough, since it is nighttime, is there enough darkness outside that, I could use Shadow Step to boost my stealth roll?
Or Shadow Cloak? Absolutely.
Or Shadow Cloak?
Go ahead
not Shadow Step.
Yeah,
Sorry,
go ahead
Shadow
and
Cloak.
make a dexterity plus stealth check, and you may add 2 dice to your roll.
I was, if I had Shadow Step, we wouldn't be having this conversation. It'd be a different, much easier task. Okay, I'm gonna give a roll. Ooh, I got a critical.
Hooray.
Not a messy critical, but a regular critical. I got 2 10s, 2 9s on my hunger die, and then a 1, a 6, and a 3.
Excellent. All right, then. Well, seeing that the one door is currently blocked by Vod and Victor as they stand in the periphery with Annabelle just
Can I go
behind.
through the broken window?
There is no broken window to the outside. The broken window is currently an interior one.
Right.
However, you can make your way to the back door that is located through the kitchens. As you go to do so, Genghis seems to catch wise and follows along behind you, but will also seem to be stopping outside the door. As you walk forward, he kind of pulls you aside. Hey, what are you doing?
I think someone should get that snowplow.
I think you're right.
At the very least, it's a big loud truck.
Try?
Yeah, I'm pretty sweet.
Okay.
I'm pretty sneaky. I think I can do it. But keep an eye out.
I'll if there are any others, I'll whistle.
Yeah, if you see one of the big beastie bastards going toward that thing, and I haven't turned the snowplow yet, try to distract it for me. And she'll slip out.
All right, sounds good. So while you are slipping out and making your way through, utility shed.
I will also check with Bunny. Do I need keys, or are they there?
Oh, he reaches into his pocket and pulls out a small set of keys. There seem to be 4 on them, but it's very obvious which one is the vehicle key, and he hands it to you.
She takes them. She doesn't like noise, so she takes the vehicle key off and gives the others back. She doesn't want the jingling.
So I noted.
Do we see any of this, or are we still at the door and she's inside?
As you're at the door and she makes her way up, I would say that this probably occurs while you are distracted with the conversation currently afoot. Thankfully, one of them seems to be rather distracted in talking to Victor. And Victor, as this conversation continues to go on, the strange sort of sadistic smile that crosses over this creature's muzzle gives it a sense of sapience that is altogether more than a little disconcerting. And it takes a single step forward, closer towards you. These rot, fester, and decay. And takes another step forward.
Yeah, no, I know. It's part of the curse of our existence. Was it the worm? I think that's what bothers you guys about us. Hey, look, man. The only worm I know anything about is at the bottom of a bottle of tequila. So Here's what I'm ready to offer you. We get done out of here. No kindred will come back within 10 miles of this place ever again. You need something built. You need something done. You just want this place shut down. It's shut down. Because the problem is, and I pull my phone out and I show it to him, I will call a predator drone strike down and level this fucking forest for the next 5 miles. So yeah, you might tear me to pieces right now, but not before you and literally everything you love is reduced to ashes. What's it fucking going to be? And I got 11 successes with a crit.
Gotcha.
I got my hand in my pocket. Because I'm standing right next to this dude.
You offer.
I'm picking out music on the radio.
Oh, sorry. What did my fur-suited friend here say?
You offer a glorious death.
Not if no one ever hears about it.
I will oblige you. And with that, it begins sprinting forward. Now you notice that the other one seems to be a little bit more hesitant. And as this one lunges forward towards you, seems to not follow behind it. It is currently bounding through the snow, making its way toward the entrance with all of the speed and ferocity of a freight train.
So is it the one that I have entranced or the one that I do not have entranced that is making a move right now?
It is the one that you have entranced that is making a move right now.
Perfect. I'm going to need an intelligence and resolve from him.
Excellent. Sounds good.
This is his werewolf love language.
It is. It is. That's why I don't hang out with him anymore. And just as he's coming, I just kind of say to Annabelle, I'm like, this isn't good.
Never is with you.
I'm like, in my defense, I'm not the one that invited us out here. Let's see. I'm gonna need him to beat 8 with a messy crit.
Sounds good. Well, do me a favor. While this is happening, just do me a favor and make a resolve plus composure check.
I ain't scared. Not willpower, resolve, and composure, correct?
Correct, yeah.
Should I do that too? Because I'm standing right next to him.
Yeah, go ahead and do so.
Yeah.
Annabelle, if you would like to, you may as well.
That is a big old 4.
Excellent, excellent.
What's the effect? My unswayable mind might kick in.
It's nothing like that. This is
Okay.
purely mundane.
Right. To see if we vampirically pee ourselves.
Correct.
Yeah.
3. Does the shiny one only count for crits? Should I not mention it?
The shiny... if you get more than one. So if you get,
Then it's
say,
a crit.
2 of those, yeah.
So I got 3. Is that enough?
3 is a good roll. And Annabelle, how about yourself?
6.
6. Wow. All right. This thing continues to bound forward faster and faster and faster until suddenly it comes within a foot and stops dead. As it looks over you, it seems more than a little annoyed that you didn't flee so that it could give chase. This seems to be some sort of primal posturing.
Did he beat my 8 with a crit?
He did not beat your 8 with a crit, which is why he is not attacking you.
I look at him, manipulate, mesmerism, run to St. Paul.
Ooh, okay. Go ahead and give me,
That's my 8 with a crit?
Yeah. You know what? You're actually good on that.
Yep.
Mr. Temple, you may have just done something irrevocable, but you know what?
That is why
you don't live here.
That is why I exist. Annabelle shall tell my story. When I die a glorious death.
Come back next week for Werewolves of St. Paul.
Hey, I already said no one should live there, okay?
I was supposed to be descriptive, not prescriptive.
It stares at you, and it feels this directive. And in spite of that, you can feel the absolute rage, the absolute fury at this directive that you've given it. And yet, in spite of it, there is a complete kicking up of snowy clouds as it bolts in the opposite direction, a low, deep, and feral growl following it along as it proceeds into the night. Margot, as you have entered into the snowplow, you suddenly see something move past the shed at a breakneck pace. It is kicking up a huge wake of snow with it.
Does it seem to be a werewolf?
It was moving fast enough, but as you look past it and see the still falling clouds of snow from where it has traveled, and look over to the side and see only one werewolf remaining, you can assume that might have been the other one.
Oh, good. I would like to try to hit the other one with a snowplow.
Okay, cool. You crank the ignition, and as the engine kicks up...
I don't turn the headlights on. That's for suckers.
Yeah, of course not. And pull forward. The lupine turns and looks towards you, and perhaps thinking that this might have been its fellow packmate returning, is suddenly... You catch a very satisfying look of surprise on its inhuman face, and perhaps maybe more than a little bit of fear. And suddenly, the snowplow crashes into its torso. You push it forward as you continue to drive and burst through the front of the diner itself, pinning it into the wall. It seems to be still alive, but you have pushed it up against the wall itself. Victor, Annabelle, Vaude, as you see this other werewolf sprint away as per your directive, Victor, and the other one suddenly grow infuriated at the cowardliness and the craven behavior of its kin. It suddenly goes to lunge toward all of you, and you can tell that this is not some sort of feral display. And in fact, as it begins to lurch forward, it is suddenly stopped in its tracks as it turns and looks and is careened into by the snowplow, which has suddenly started to move, presumably all on its own. It smashes into the front of Bunny's Pancake House. You can hear the screams of the mortals inside, who are all running and clambering for some sort of cover.
I was wrong. I like her a lot. Also, Annabelle, that was it. That's what I got. So the second one, if you guys, I just...
You did good, Victor.
Just also, don't go to St. Paul.
Margot grins and bats the little dice hanging from the snowplow mirror.
As you do that, you suddenly are snapped back to fierce attention when you feel this thing's large paws place themselves on either side of the hood, and taking one step tries to push the still spinning tires out from behind it. As that happens, go ahead, Annabelle.
Annabelle, well, as that happens, what happens first?
Well, more than likely, you have the same thought that is occurring to Genghis, because Genghis has taken advantage of this opportunity and leapt onto this thing's shoulders. His arm, as much as he can, wrapped around, grabbing a huge handful of fur as he places the pistol, the tip of his pistol up against his head, and with a scream, empties his clip into its face. This thing reacts as though it's an annoyance.
I have an idea when my turn rolls around.
Yeah,
Sure,
Annabelle,
Annabelle. Mm-hmm.
Annabelle strides forward, And as the clip is being emptied and he's pinned up against the wall, she says, "You saw what happened to your buddy. You see what we can do now. You're all alone here." And she turns on Daunt and says, "Run, boy. Run."
Can I do something at the same time, like Final Fantasy, like we both hit our action
Dual
at the
tech
same
style?
time?
Sure.
Now, I've read a lot of this newfangled vampire y'all playing these days in the last 18 hours. And apparently one of the new mythic traditions, which I love, is the concept of old money. As mythically important, like dead money, a currency that no longer works is now a valuable commodity. It can be used as a weapon. Sebastian has spent a lot of time in the Midwest, and he has dealt with werewolves. And I tell you, I personally, Pat Rothfuss, have a whole bucket full of these straight up Liberty silver $50, which is a currency that no longer is functional, and also it's silver. And also, I would like to have a pocket full of these. And I'm thinking, I might not be great shakes with a gun or getting in there with a knife or whatever, but this is what I've always thought of as an area effect attack. I can throw a handful of 50-cent silver dead currency 50-cent pieces at something the size of a truck and hit it probably real good when it's pinned to a wall.
Him weaponized cash. I'm like, I like him too. I also like him.
That's very you.
Excellent. Go ahead and give me
shooting tokens at the
pew pew
at the
pew.
casino. Pew, pew.
Give me, if you will, a strength plus athletics check. Not for any sort of accuracy, but to throw with enough force that you think you might be able to.
Plus, you activated focus. Yeah.
No, I have blood of potency. So
yeah.
So
if you intend to rouse your strength, that will affect it. Otherwise, it won't.
That I very much would like to rouse my strength.
Excellent.
And so, do you want me to roll the rouse first?
Yeah, go ahead and roll the rouse, and then I believe because you activated Blood of Potency, you will get to add 2 dice to your subsequent roll.
Yep. And when I rouse, I roll just 1 hunger die? No, I roll just 2.
One. Yep. Nope, just the 1.
Because I have a hunger?
Even though you have hunger too? That's correct. Okay. You always will just roll 1 single die.
It's blank again.
I see. Perhaps it's all this excitement and, the blood that is still caked to yourself. But seeing all of this happen, your beast has started to grow rather roused, grow rather hungry.
Okay, so then it is strength and which?
Strength and athletics plus 2 dice. Bonus dice.
Although, point of fact, your hunger does not go up for this roll, it goes up for your next roll. So you still only use the 2 blood dice for this, and subsequent rolls are 3 blood dice.
Thank you. 3 successes.
3 successes. Gotcha. You heave the handful of coins, and while at first they seem to just bounce harmlessly off of this thing's body, more than a few of them manage to stick and place onto them. And the creature, perhaps more focused right now on the several high-caliber gunshots that are firing into it, doesn't seem to notice at first. And then as they rest onto them, you can see what appears to be a smoking charring that is coming from each and every one of the coins where they have landed, and it gives an enraged scream. In response to both that and your relentless mocking, Annabelle, it is going to attempt to just wildly thrash at anything that is within reach, which currently seems to be the truck and Genghis. So let us see how that goes. Go ahead.
And like Annabelle said, I didn't want to preempt or get in the way of her action. I was mostly, because she said, I'm going to do Daunt.
Yes.
And so I was looking to back her play with my play, not preempted or whatever.
Get out of here!
Oh yeah.
Sure.
And it is certainly helping to assist it in making it feel. Yeah.
You need me to roll persuasion or intimidation, sort of.
Yeah. Go ahead and give me intimidation plus manipulation plus your presence.
Okay. Oh shit. 7. 7.
7 successes?
Yeah.
Excellent. The creature seems to be looking around, and its eyes are following on everything that is currently around it. You, Annabelle, who has stepped forward and are fearlessly confronting him, the truck that has it pinned up against the wall, the coins that are placed onto its body that are aggravating it and injuring it with every passing second. And of course, Genghis, who has just emptied his clip and has now been thrown off of the werewolf, but is now regathering its strength. And looking at everything around you, cutting its losses, it looks at the truck and it is simply trying to push it off of it.
Let him
It
go.
seems to be pinned at the moment.
I'll back up a little.
You back up, hitting a couple of the tables and chairs that had been knocked into your after your path after you had driven in, crunching them underneath. As it does so, it falls onto the ground and it staggers itself back up, looking around from the left, looking around to the right, considering possibly doing something, possibly leaving some sort of grievous wound on its way out, something to salvage this thing's honor. But no. It seems to be outnumbered, it seems to be injured, and the carefully laid ambush that they seem to have plotted has gone awry.
Your buddy's heading to St. Paul.
It does not run. It does, however, walk and begin to back its way out. It is keeping its eyes upon you as best as it can.
If it looks at me, I rev the engine.
It does not jump, but it does narrow its eyes. And as it continues to back out, the snow continues to swirl around it. Yep.
I take a picture of it before it goes. These are individuals, so some other lupines might be interested in that.
Solid. I'll make a note of that. And as it continues backing up, the snow continues to swirl around it, cutting off any more visibility that you may have had. And with a final defiant howl, this thing also seems to vanish into the night. And with that, I believe that is an appropriate place to bring our story to a close.
Woo!
Thank you all
What's important
very much for
is
joining.
we made friends.
Indeed.
It's true. I officially don't hate you guys.
I know. We made friends.
Fight to bring them
Good to know.
together.
It's true. It's like Speed taught us, relationships based on trauma and adrenaline don't last. So, but that's okay. That's all right.
Yeah, also, Margot gets out of the car and holds the key up and says, someone else has to drive out of here. I don't know how to drive any more than that. I live in the city.
Well, Mr. Temple, you have certainly made things very interesting for me as a writer on Vampire the Masquerade Winter's Teeth. And I encourage all of you who are interested in seeing what sort of ramifications this night may have, check out Vampire the Masquerade Winter's Teeth, brought to you by Vault Comics, available wherever your local comic shops are sold.
Check that out, folks.
Oh, and thank you, Blake, for this, by the way. Thank you very much.
Thank you all
Thank you
very
so
much.
much, Blake, for running. Thank you all for joining us. This has been so much fun. Patrick, do you want to shout out the charity info one more time?
I'll do it one more time. Right now, we're in the middle of a a charity fundraiser raising money for Heifer International, which helps promote food sustainability and self-reliance all over the world. And for $30, if you are willing to donate it at the link that's being posted in the chat, it will show up on the team page for this game, and you get the opportunity to change somebody's life forever. Maybe Heifer International helps them get a biogas stove so they don't have to cut down local trees and spend a lot of time gathering wood. Maybe they get honeybees to improve the yields on their small farm or garden. Maybe they get fruit trees or chickens or ducks or alpaca or sheep. Maybe they get clean water, better irrigation. They do so much. And the one thing that I'll mention that I didn't before is, and what really sets Heifer head and shoulders above every other charity that of this sort that I know of, is Heifer teaches people to pass on the gift. And so all of these people who have been in poverty, in real dire straits their whole life, Heifer helps them out. And then goats give birth to goats, and chickens make eggs, and eggs make chickens. And over the years, these people go from being in desperate places, many of them having to be beggars or starve with their families, to being prosperous, and not just prosperous, but prosperous enough themselves to then take some of their goats or their chicks or their bees and then go to their neighbors and say, hey, you know what? It sucked for me too once. Would you like some goats? And then they teach them what they know. And there are parts of the world, all over the world, everyone that Heifer works with commits to do this in the future. There are places in Nepal where women gather together, and it's their biggest party. They put on their fanciest dresses, and they take the new goats to a village, and it's a huge party where they've trained this other village how to take care of the goats, and then they pass along the goats. And there are some places in Nepal where this has gone through like 13 generations of mothers and daughters and goats for decades. The best example, though, is after the Korean War, where all of Korea was just a blasted crater. Heifer International is like, boy, how can we help this absolutely decimated country? And they're like, well, everybody typically can raise chickens here. This works with the ecology. This works with the culture. And today, it is estimated that 80% of all chickens in Korea are descended from Heifer International chickens. So if you've got your eyes open, if you know that the world sucks and you wish you could help, but everything seems so big, focus on what you can do, which is right now, you can kick in some money, change a family's life forever, but also in the long run, you get to be that small rock at the beginning of the avalanche that is going to rumble downhill for hopefully hundreds of years, doing good endlessly into the future in a sustainable way. And also, every $10 you kick in gets you a chance to win thousands of prizes worth more than $100,000, including 3 Wormwood gaming tables, customizable to whatever you want, wherever your heart desires. Many cool things, many cool prizes, good feelings, warm fuzzies. Come on board, help us make the world a better place, and you will also feel real nice. That was a much tighter pitch than the first one I did. And also, y'all are awesome because on the page, last time I peeked, we were well past $2,000, and you guys are up in the top 10 now, just based on what got donated today.